Hey YouTube, this is Matt, Protozerg. I'm just doing a little update, and I thought I would focus on my little hexagon aquarium here. Just doing a little update on some stuff, some technical stuff I wanted to talk about. So anyway, I have no idea what the gallon size on this tank is. It's older than I am, pretty much, and it was my grandma's tank, and then I kind of inherited it, and this is the only tank I have that has an undergravel filter, and I'm really happy with it. This is probably one of my cleanest, healthiest tanks in the entire house. So you know, I like undergravel filters. You know, a lot of these people like, you know, the canister filters or the hang-on filters or things like that, but the main reason they quit doing undergravel filters in a lot of the big corporate stores is they're a one-time sale purchase. So you buy the filter, you set it up one time, and you're done forever. And the hang-on filters, the canister filters, they keep you coming back every few weeks or so to get cartridges and media and all that stuff. And you know, there's nothing wrong with this tank, and there never is anything wrong with this tank ever. So I'm not complaining. So, you know, I do my water changes, I use the gravel vac, I get down, I press hard, I suck up gunk from the undergravel filter, and this tank is spotless all the time. So and another thing I wanted to talk about is Latin names. I'm not the best Latin name pronouncer on, or pronunciation, or whatever you want to say it. I can't even say that right. But I do know some basic rules that are pretty easy to follow. So, like, let's say Burchardi. A lot of people say Burchardi for the Neolamprologus species. It's Burchardi. It's named after a man named Pierre Burchard, and there's a few fish named after him. And when you name a fish after, like, say, a man, you add an I at the end of his last name, and it's an I sound, a high I. Like, it's Burchardi, named after a guy named Pierre Burchard, who was one of the great cichlid explorers for the lakes and stuff, and he you know, did a lot for the aquarium hobby community way back in the day. And there's a lot of fish named after him, like Synodontis burchardi, which is a catfish, Tropheus burchardi, Aulonocara burchardi, Teleogramma burchardi. So that's how that works. And if it's named after a woman, you end the name with AE, which still sounds like I. So just like Burchardi, but with instead of an I, it's AE. Like right here, this guy, that's a Labeotropheus trewavasae. Now I could be pronouncing the actual name wrong, but it's not trewavasae or trewavasae, it's trewavasae, even though the last two letters of the name are AE. So it's named after a woman. Her name was Ethelyn Trewavasae or something like that. So that's how that works. But, like, let's say there's a Geophagus geopari. Well, geopari sounds like E still, because it's named after a place, not a person. So that's kind of like how that works. I'm on the board of my Cichlid club here, and we had, you know, a guy come out, and his entire presentation was on Latin names, and it kind of just stuck with me ever since. So anyway, back to talking about my fish. Again, that's Labeotropheus, trewavasae. That's Mpanga Red. He's a male that's turning colors. This is my favorite stage he's in. If he would stay like this, I'd be so thrilled. Because this is kind of like the in-between teenager stage. And his body gets that nice purplish color with the orange coming in on the front. Eventually his whole body will get red and the fins will be kind of like a whitish color, which is still awesome. Because this is actually a young group I've been growing up, and I sold the parents you know, a little while ago, and you know, the dad was all red and everything and he was awesome, but I'm just saying this is probably the way I like them the best. So just thought I'd capture him real quick while he's like this, because I just love that purple with the orange in the front. And then up there, this guy, that's a Paralabidochromis Uganda fire. A Victorian Hap. I have a male and 2 females in there, and he's just mind-blowingly red. He's got awesome sweet color. And then this is a male Lwanda. This one isn't my line that I've been raising, but the female is my line. She goes to the male that I have in the 75. She's the exact same line. And what I was trying to do was, I got a pair of him, and I like how he's got that like more of a butterfly tail that kind of gets more pointed. And what I'm trying to do is get fry with my line's color to get more of a fin length. And this guy still has a little bit of growing to do, but his strain gets a pretty nice like butterfly tail. I don't know if you can see, but I'm trying to get that finnage with my color. So maybe the fry that these two pump out, or because I have his female in with the other male, and hopefully I get fry out of them, and then maybe we'll see how my little project goes from there. But this is the more of a natural like Lwanda, you know, like maybe an F1 or something like that. This is usually how they normally look. As you can see, the pelvic fins on the bottom below are more of a darkish color. The ones that the guy that I have in my 75, his pelvic fins on the bottom are orange, and the bottom anal fin is red. So I'm just trying to get some more finned length to them. And then back there he is. That's a young pair of Protomelas spilonotus Tanzania, also sold in the hobby as Insignis. I think it's Insignis because it's kind of spelled like you would spell sign, like on the side of the road, S-I-G-N. So this is S-I-N-S-I-G-N-I-S. So I think it's Insignis, where the G is silent, but a lot of people pronounce it Insignis or Insignis or something, and I'm not sure how it actually is pronounced, but I think it's pronounced Insignis, so, or Insignis. So, but we'll see. But the actual Protomelas Insignis is a totally different fish. It's an entirely different species of fish, and it's not even this fish at all. It's just a common name. So, but if you go to cichlid-forum.com, you can look it up. This is Protomelas spilonotus Tanzania, and Protomelas Insignis is a totally different species, which is nothing like this fish. So, but this fish is sold as Insignis in the hobby. So, but I like to call it Protomelas spilonotus Tanzania, just because I like, you know, that other fish that's called Insignis. I'd rather let him have his own identity, but who knows, it's the hobby. And Those are little juvenile Lwandas. Those were babies I raised. Those are babies of the mother in here and the father in the 75. So, and that back there is a UV sterilizer, and these guys are just waiting for food. You know, they saw me coming up here, and I just love him. He's so awesome. So, and I'll throw some food in there, I guess. There, it's raining food. Now this tank isn't that huge, but it's actually got a lot more room than you'd think because it's very round. It's got a big diameter. And my fish actually grow much better in this tank than they do in a lot of my other tanks for some reason. But this tank is really never really a permanent home to any of these fish. So usually if they get too big, I'll move them up to a different size tank. But this is a nice tank to grow out young trios and stuff, and young pairs and juvenile fish. And so I move fish all around my house. So just kind of so some fish could stay in here forever, like the Uganda fires. There's no reason for them to leave here. The Protomelas would probably have to be moved up eventually. The Lwanda peacocks aren't that bad in here. And oh, that's the female spilonotus. But yeah, this is my hexagon tank. I like how this Lwanda, his collar on top of his head is kind of like almost a green color, which I think is pretty cool. Well, thank you guys.